Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Card Advantage podcast. This is episode number 31. We are recording this on Tuesday, October 26th at 9:21 p.m. Unfortunately, we were supposed to record last night, but we got rained out. Bunk got stuck in traffic on his way home from work. So we are recording as usual on Tuesday. We are going to try and drop this tonight. Shortly after we're done recording, so hopefully we can start getting these episodes live on Tuesday. And as always, I am joined by my co-host Bunk. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I am fantastic. Once again, one of these days I will get a different response from you, other than "What's up, man? How you doing today?"
Oh man, I gotta prepare for that too now, huh?
You gotta prepare for everything. The fans want some variety. They don't want the same thing over and over again, my friend. All right,
I'll work on that for you.
Yeah, you go to podcast school and come back with some nuggets.
I failed out.
All right, we're gonna get started here. Take care of Sports Card Advantage podcast business. First and foremost, for those of you that want to send in questions, send it to info@sportscardadvantage.com. All our social media channels are SportsCardADVTG. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. We are all over the place, definitely posting more actively these days. So we'll hop right in to last week's secret card giveaway, announce this week's secret card choices. So once again, we've decided to make an executive decision on the secret card giveaway. We are not going to do a random draw this week. We have picked somebody. This is a person who literally shouts us out every week on his social media channels as soon as the episode drops. Messages us on Twitter, on email, has hopped in the Discord. So just a super fan of the show. This week card, we had one card that has been jumping in value. So we decided that we're going to give it to him. So James Lumen, you are the winner this week. Thank you. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you always riding for us and being a fan. So
congrats, James. What's he taking?
He's going to take the Ja Morant. So there's a Ja Morant PSA 9 hoops purple. Hopefully that's jumped up a little bit in value since we bought it. So it should be a nice little prize. Speaking of Discord, the Discord room is open and operational. We have a nice little dialogue going on in there, probably a couple times a week, chit-chatting about cards and the hobby and everything else. Trying to grow that. So if you'd like an invite to Discord, send us an email or reach out to us on social, info@sportscardadvantage.com or SportsCardADVTG. Just send us a message and say, hey, I want an invite to Discord, and we will drop that out to you. This week's choices for secret card of the week are 2020 National Treasures Collegiate Lamar Jackson patch out of 49, 2015 Topps Valor RPA out of 800 Tyler Lockett. Side note on Topps Valor, if you've never seen it, they have some awesome inserts. A slept-on rookie of Russell Wilson is the 2012 Topps Valor patch auto. Those cards are badass.
Awesome.
If you can get your hands on one, because they're almost impossible to find, definitely something cool. But yeah, Topps Valor was a set that I wish they would have continued, but unfortunately that's been discontinued for a few years now. Last but not least, 2020 Mosaic Gardner Minshew stained glass. A couple Philly beat writers made an announcement or posted a couple things on social. They do feel that Minshew may get a chance to play some games this year. So if that's the case, the Minshew stained glass could see a nice little jump as well.
Immediate spike for no reason whatsoever.
Exactly. And then for those of you that are new to the podcast, we do a secret card drawing every week. We give away a free card to a listener. Just send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com, to be included in the secret card giveaway for the week. And with that being said, any other Sports Card Advantage podcast business that you have or would like to discuss?
No, how are we doing in that fantasy league? Is it weekly head-to-head?
I think, it's weekly head-to-head. I don't believe last week counted because we drafted on the night of the first game, so I didn't see that the stats counted, but we had a good week.
Well, maybe you should give me the login. Let me handle the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, guy, because you managing our lineup is what we need. So I think this is the first week that counts, but we'll provide some updates as we go. So last week was a relatively slow news week. This week, however, is not. PWCC, their first monthly auctions are closing. I believe baseball and basketball already closed. Football, I believe, is closing tonight. And we got drama. There's definitely some controversy going on. People are saying that there are prices and deals to be had. Things are closing for well below comps in certain cases. I know, Bunk, that since we had Jesse on the podcast, you took it upon yourself to play around a bit with PWCC. Why don't you give us a first-hand account of what you're experiencing, and we'll talk a little bit more about the monthly auctions.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have some positives and some negatives. So I knew baseball was closing, and I have every intention I want to check out what this vault's all about, and I will be submitting and taking advantage of that free vault for life option at some point here. But I figured, let me see if I can win one of these auctions and get a card to move into there, just so I can see how the portfolio is laid out and what kind of data I'm being provided and what my options are. So I definitely won a card. It was a little confusing at first, but again, listen, this is a brand new style platform, whatever. So even though we had a great lecture and lesson from Jesse, I was still a learning experience to work through. So, I mean, the best advice I can give you is just use it and you'll get used to it. The website is loaded. I mean, there's just drop down menus everywhere and it's a lot to maneuver, but I definitely had some difficulty maneuvering through the website and trying to figure out what the heck to do. At one point I had bid on a card and then I was trying to find where my bids are. I couldn't find a place where it said, here are all the cards you bid on. I was having some difficulty finding those things. I had to just straight search for the card again. And then it popped up like, oh, okay, I bid on this. And then I saw the information. You were the high bidder. You're not the high bidder. So I got lucky. I bid on a card, I think once in extended bidding and forgot about it. And no one bid again. So I own a card now. When you pay your invoice, you can take shipping right to your house if you want, or you can take the option of sending it right to the vault.
And the comps on the card versus what you paid.
So there's no. I mean, it's a really generic base Trey Turner rookie card PSA 10, and to be in full disclosure, so there was no direct comps to it. Another comp of a similar card, very similar, same product, but it was a variation or whatever, sold for $50.
So what'd you pay for it?
I paid $21. So I thought it was going to go higher as a PSA 10. Now, again, it's a base. Season's over. Base Trey Turner rookie card. He doesn't get as much hype as I feel like he should, but should it have went a little higher? I definitely was anticipating it going higher. I don't know if it came below, some of the values people are claiming that these auctions ended at.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of chatter on social media about cards going for well below comp, and we're thinking that there's two things in play here. Number one, PWCC is not eBay. They don't have the audience that eBay has, and the lower end auction type stuff just isn't getting the visibility and the amount of eyeballs that they were getting at eBay. And then secondly, we were just talking about this before we started. You were trying to look at some of the stuff for football and you couldn't get the site to load.
Yeah, so so football's ending when I was looking 45 minutes from now. So there was one card in particular I wanted to search for, throw a bid on, and have an option after we're done recording about with the extended bidding. Uh, and I can't. It won't load on my phone and on my desktop. It is just spinning. So you know internet stuff more than I do, but to me that sounds like there's a ton of traffic, and I can't even get to put a bid on.
Yeah, I mean, if things are just spinning, that means there's too much bandwidth and people aren't able to get to where they're going. So, that could have an impact, especially on lower end stuff. Lower end stuff and lower price stuff isn't going to be more rare. So people aren't going to wait around. If it's like if they're trying to buy a $150 card, that card isn't going to have any rarity to it. They could easily flip over to eBay and, go get the card. So it's the only reason why people are going to stick around is they think they can get a deal. But if something keeps spinning, you have to reload and reload and reload to get there. You got to figure people are going to get turned off. And then also, if you're selling and your stuff sells for 70% of what comps are, how are you putting stuff in next month's auction?
So, well, let's be fair. So it's round one. So, and PWCC sends 100 emails a day. So the word's going to get out. All this negative attention is just going to bring more eyeballs to the site, because every day people that didn't even know they were back and doing stuff are going to go to the site. I wouldn't give up after round one. I think they'll eventually get the eyeballs they need on the lower end stuff. And now, just to be clear, remember they have their monthly auctions and then they have the premier auctions. So the premier auctions are like high dollar stuff, and those cards crushed it. I think they had 12 record breaking sales. It's something total 12 million in sales on the premier level stuff. So now, granted, there's probably less people buying those with big, deeper pockets.
Yeah.
However,
And the
however,
pools,
they were there.
yeah, the pools for those are smaller. The cards are rarer, and it's people that if you're looking for specific cards that are in that premier auction, then yeah, you're gonna show up and you're gonna bid, and obviously there isn't the type of traffic that may be slowing the site down. But I don't know, man. I think that they're gonna stumble out of the gate a little bit, just for the sake of if I got burned once, I'm pulling back until I see that things are hitting comps, where things are hitting where they should be before I go offer up any more of my cards to the slaughter, so to speak.
Yeah, and especially because remember, the lower dollar amount the card sells for, the highest take they were taking. So not only are you
Yeah, they're
losing
taking
out,
15%.
yeah, not only are you losing out on the card didn't sell for as much as you thought it was, you still they're still chomping that 15% from you. So
Yeah, and
yeah, listen, I
eBay's
think people will be
eBay's
gun
taking
shy.
eBay's taking 12 and a half or 12.7 or whatever the hell number it is, and they're taking more. So as I said, I don't think it's just going to fix itself in month two. I definitely think that they got out of the gate slow and they overestimated. Because if you remember what Jesse said during the interview, he's like, "Oh, we captured 70% of the sports card audience or 80% of the sports card audience from eBay from our previous transactions, et cetera, et cetera." And I think they overestimated the amount of traffic that they were going to get, or they underestimated it and the sites crashed and people couldn't get bids in. So
That's definitely part of it. It was not easy for me to use. Now, again, the more I use it, like anything in life, I'll get better at it. But I think they definitely. That's why I'm not ready to say, they're just gonna. I think they'll stumble a little bit, but I think month two, I think will go better as people learn to use the site and understand it, and maybe they've got some feedback on their end about how people are having trouble even getting in. I literally, I'm still trying. I've reloaded 4 times. I cannot search for the card I want.
yeah, and there's going to be growing pains, but obviously I would like to see them succeed simply for the fact of competition. Simply for the fact of having more places where cards are being sold and you have more choices and things to buy and places that you can go to find cards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a new toy, and maybe that's why I'm in love with it right now. But even with my difficulties, I love the concept here, and I'm anxious to get some more cards in the vault, and I'm gonna definitely send some stuff, and I'm gonna play with it. I'm gonna see if it's a worthwhile venture for me. But if people can't get in to bid and stuff like that, or to your point, if people aren't gonna put cards up because they're waiting for things to happen, then maybe they go from 40,000 football cards this month to 20,000 next month. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm standing on the sideline to see what happened month one, I'm definitely not jumping in month two. And if my cards got slaughtered month one, I am pulling everything back until I see it right right itself and start hitting eBay comps. So we'll see. We'll definitely keep an eye on it. There are a lot of pissed off people online
And,
and complaining.
and to be fair with those pissed off people, though, sorry to cut you off. Again, remember, we always usually only hear about the complainers, and I mean, there's probably plenty of people that got what they wanted on cards, and
Well,
we're
yeah,
just
there's
hearing
plenty of
about.
people who got the deals that are happy. I'm talking about the sellers that are
No,
complaining.
I'm sure there's sellers that are happy too.
Yeah.
We don't know the whole thing. People aren't going to post and say as seller. I mean, maybe a seller would say, "Hey, I did really well with PWCC last night." I mean, you're just going to hear about
The
the
guys
cards
who
that are
got
undervalued
fucked.
from people complaining. Yeah, or the guy. That
Well,
doesn't mean all of them. It doesn't mean across the board they were 25% down.
yeah, the squeaky wheel, as they say. And then also for clarification, Sports Card Advantage is not affiliated with PWCC in any way. We receive no compensation, sponsorship, or money in any capacity. So everything that we talk about is all our own opinion. And although Bunk is in love with it, we are not being compensated for it.
Yeah, but I mean, I clearly outlined its deficiencies
Oh
so
yeah,
far.
dude. I'm
I
just
yeah, I know, I know. I
breaking
just
balls.
think if it gets together, I think it's going to be a really nice option for many reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's change gears here a little bit. Some more drama in the hobby. Group subs. This topic was kicked around a bunch last week. There was a bunch of controversy with group subs, and I guess there was a couple of not prominent, but I guess there's a couple of
This is graded group submissions for
yes,
those
yes.
confused.
Thank you for the clarification, my wonderful co-host. This is graded group submissions, meaning people send in raw cards to a company that then reviews those cards and sends them on to SGC, HGA, PSA, BGS, Beckett.
Now,
Um,
are the ones you're going to speak about, are they all review based things? Because not all of them are review based.
when you say review based, what do you mean?
Meaning you can submit to some of these outfits and not have them review your
Oh
cards.
yeah, yeah.
There's,
No. I'm just saying in general, they
okay.
they take your cards and then submit them onto the grading companies. Usually, they receive some sort of discount because they're submitting in mass. So
And they
that is
pass some of
why,
that on to you.
yeah. So and then they pass that on to you. Usually, people that are using group grading submissions are submitting larger volumes of cards. They just pack them, ship them, send them out, and then the company that's doing the group submissions will do all the paperwork and the formalities and whatever, and you're paying for that service. So there's a lot of people that complained about group grading scams. There was a report that Card Porn did on a couple of companies that were advertising on Instagram. One of which I believe just straight up took the cards, and then the other people were complaining about cards being swapped and them getting cards back that weren't the cards that they swapped. They were lesser quality. So that prompted Nash Cards to respond publicly on Instagram. He went on a 3 or 4 minute rant about Nash Cards, and he made some very valid points. PSA, BGS, SGC, I don't know about HGA, have specific companies that they endorse and say that they are basically affiliated with. And Nash basically said, like, you shouldn't be working with anybody outside of those companies, and that they are one for PSA and SGC, and that you have to trust the people that you're sending these cards to, that they're going to be honest. They're not going to mishandle the cards. They're not going to swap out lesser quality cards, keep your card for themselves, or straight up run away with your cards. We have had our experience with Nash and submitting ourselves. I'll let you speak to what you felt your experience has been, but I mean, I have my 2 cents I'll throw in after.
Yeah, I mean, we're still waiting for the cards to come back, but and it's been an eternity because when you don't send cards worthy of a higher business day turnaround, you just sit and sit and sit. But my experience, as far as Nash is concerned, we for the purposes of trying it out, we did their review service. We
Yeah.
sent five cards in. We let them review, and if there was any major whatever in any of the cards, they what they call kick them, and they don't send them for you. So we had 4 of our 5 cards got green lighted to send. So what they do is they sent the 4, they keep the 1 with them, and when our graded cards come back to Nash, they send the ungraded card they kicked back in the mail in our in the shipping we paid already. So every step of the way, from Nash receiving, from Nash sending, from the graded card company telling them SGC that they received the cards. I've gotten a text and an email on every step of the way, so I know exactly where my cards are at all times.
Yeah, and that's basically what you should be getting. My only beef with group grading in general is it adds to the time that your cards are away. So if
Yeah, it's
you,
an extra 7 to 10 days.
yeah, it basically, so you have to pack stuff up, you have to send it to them, they have to receive it, they have to put it in queue, review it, and then get it on. So it's 2 shipping and a few days with them to review. So you're looking at 7 to 10 days, which just extends the 40 to 45 days if you're sending it to SGC, and then extends you out another week and a half if you're sending it to PSA. Stuff's been coming back to 2 to 3 weeks right now with PSA. That's my only beef. Otherwise, if you find group submissions that have some sort of relationship with the grading companies, you should be fine. If they're endorsed by PSA, SGC, BGS, I don't. Their reputation is on the line, and if somebody found out that they ever swapped cards, stole cards, whatever it is, their whole business blows up. So it's not worth it for them for the card that you're submitting. So I don't think that you have to worry with those. But if it's somebody that has a few thousand followers on Instagram and a website, I would be very, very cautious of that.
There's not a shot in hell I'd send cards to get graded from it to an Instagram account.
Well, I think one of them, they had a website, but I think the one they had I don't know, 15,000 followers, and people thought it was legit, and the website looked legit and all that. I mean, basically, if I wanted to, I could spend $1,000 and have a website up and 15,000 followers on Instagram by the end of the week. I mean, it's not hard, especially if I'm going to just straight up scam people. So I think it's just, you got to be real careful. Once again, the mantra that we have on this podcast is do your homework. Do the research before you send stuff out, because there are definitely people scamming, and the more shine that the hobby gets, the more it hits the news, the more you see multi-million-dollar cards being sold, the more scammers are going to come out. So you got to just be real careful with who you're dealing with and where you send your cards. And unless you're doing it in volume, just send them directly to the grading company. I mean, we've done that too, and it's not that tedious. I mean, if you're sending 100 cards, sure, but if you're sending 2 cards, there's no reason to use a group grading company. They're not
Well,
getting.
Well, if you're brand new to so now that we've done it a bunch of times and I've been reviewing cards now endlessly, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what we can send, what we can't send, what we're going to get, what we're not going to get. But if you're brand new to grading and it's not, they're not crazy high end cards, but you want them slabbed anyway, and you just need a little advice, and you got an outfit like Nash that is pretty trusted, well known in the industry there, then I could see a new person that's a huge advantage to them
Yeah.
because they'll send along what they think they should send along. They may hold something back, save you a couple bucks from getting a
Well,
six and a half on a card.
yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too is you want to see how things are going to grade. Start sending stuff in to SGC or HGA, $20 to $30. Yes, it's going to take a little bit longer, but at the same time, it's not costing you $150 a shot, and you'll start getting an idea of how things will be graded.
Yeah, I mean, I did it on a poor example, but I was so bored with. I was finally committed to grading things, and then of course everything shut down, right? So then HGA pops up. So I sent, I got a lot of them, but I sent my one of my Jeter rookie cards, the worst looking one I had in terms of grade. I was like, it's not creased or anything. I'm like, I want to know what a company's going to grade these subgrades, so I can learn a little bit more about how strict they are on cards. So I sent it off. and I learned a lot from it too.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the whole thing. It's all about doing your homework, getting an education, and paying for it. I mean, I have probably wasted $1,500, $2,000 on buying cards when product first comes out and paying the premium and all that, and then realizing later that those cards I could have gotten for half or less. So this is all about getting an education and learning by doing and feeling your way through. So send stuff off to SGC. Go through the experience. Send a couple of lesser value cards if you have higher end stuff, and you'll get a better idea of how it all works and how things are graded.
Love it.
Alrighty, time to move it right along. A couple of tidbits of news for the week. Some announcements in the last 48 hours. WWE has announced that they are extending their deal with Panini. So basically that indicates to me anyway that Panini potentially isn't going anywhere. Even when their licenses run out, if they keep some of their other licenses for non-sports products, WWE, I don't know what the status is with UFC, but UFC continues to grow in popularity. So if they stick with Panini with WWE, they're obviously not going to be anywhere near as big, but they'll still be around. The other one was NHL. And NHLPA re-signed with Upper Deck. They've been with Upper Deck for a while. They kept that there, so that basically eliminates the four-sport monopoly with Fanatics. So NHL and NHL digital stuff will stay with Upper Deck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much support it lends to Panini not going anywhere, but I mean, listen, they already have a popular and good-looking baseball card products that have no logos on them.
Yep.
So if they're crunching the numbers there and they're killing it on no logo baseball products because they do a great job with the look of them, maybe they feel like, okay, if we get some license agreements, great for some of these other secondary things, and we're going to move forward and we're going to produce our normal cards, just no logos.
Yeah, I mean WWE is growing in popularity for cards. Obviously, UFC is crushing. So yeah, I mean stuff with baseball. It'd be interesting to see if they're gonna do like no logo football and basketball. I don't know how that's gonna play with people. Like no logo National Treasure football. I don't know. It doesn't sit right. It doesn't. I don't know if it's gonna look right, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Especially for a high-end product, of all the no logo baseball paninis, like Immaculate and National Treasures are like my least favorite.
Yeah,
and they're like the higher price points.
There's a premium on them, but it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. So we'll see. And who knows with some of the other with the MLBPA and NFLPA and NBAPA agreements, whether or not these guys are signing stuff for non-Fanatics related products. We'll see whether or not that's going to happen.
There'll be rules in place for sure.
Yeah, we don't know what those are yet. All right, so let's move it right along. Is this part 3 of Bunk's off-season baseball buying guide?
Yeah, why not? It's going to be more of a discussion. It's going to lead us into a little bit more of a discussion than anything else. But yes, he's another name on my check it out list.
All right, so if he's going to lead us into another discussion, then I'm going to cover my things, then you'll cover yours, and then we'll lead that into a discussion.
All right. What do you got?
So I have 2 things as far as dumping guys: Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts.
It's official for you?
I think that we should, be parting ways with them. We rode a little bit for Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the season. He had some upside potential. I mean, other than some of the rushing touchdowns that he's putting in, he doesn't seem like he's going to survive as the Eagles' number 1 quarterback. As we mentioned earlier, Minshew's already gotten rumors of potential playing time. So who knows?
Oh yeah, there are writers around here that are straight up saying bench Jalen Hurts. I mean, obviously they don't know anything and have no say in anything, but they are stirring the pot, if you will, amongst the fan base of get him out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. So and if he gets benched for Minshew, his obviously whatever is left for value on his cards is going to tank. So those two guys are guys we recommend parting ways with. So the two investments that I have are Zion Williams cards. Zion came into training camp or to preseason at like 300 plus pounds. So he's about 20 to 25 pounds overweight. He's got a foot issue.
That's good for his already banged up knees.
Yeah, Zion is still Zion, at least for the next however long. His on court will only help. His stuff has definitely taken a bit of a beating with him being out for the beginning of the season. So there's definitely some deals to be had. So I would keep an eye on his injury status and, try to buy stuff as cheaply as possible. But I have two suggestions for Zion cards that are affordable. One is the 2019 Optic Hollow PSA 9. You should be able to get this for between $250 and $280. The pop on this is $727, which is a lot lower than his Prism cards. And then the other one is 2019 Select Concourse Silver. Last sale around $175. The highs on this card are about $500. The highs on the Optic Hollow about $800. So you're looking at 3 to 4x on both of those as far as previous highs, and they're both right around their lows for like the last 12 to 18 months. So I would be looking at him, and when he comes back, as soon as he steps foot on the court, he is a highlight reel, and that definitely affects hobby value. So I like acquiring some of his stuff until we get a few more years down the road. If he still hasn't done anything, I'd be wary about it. But people love Zion. People want to see they want to see him succeed, and they want to see his cards go up. So
his window is going to be open for a while, regardless of what you think of him long term.
Yep, I would agree. So I think that that is definitely a possibility. And then one other thing that we want to bring up is a little throwback reminder before I hand it over to Bunk to talk about his off-season baseball buying guide. Is as we head into the World Series, our first episode, the investment advice of the week that we gave was on Austin Riley. You want to walk through a little bit? You want to take people down a little memory lane from episode 1 and what you recommended, where it was, and where it is now?
Yeah, we as the show, the investment portion of the show hadn't quite evolved yet. So, you were telling me about the segments we were going to have and what to do. So I was like, all right, well, what kind of guys do I think could blow up or are cheap right now? And, I came across Austin Riley. Across the board, and I don't remember what I said, but from memory, any rookie card logo autograph of Austin Riley was like $15, $20, a little more if it was a parallel or something like that. And I just thought it was a really nice price for this guy coming off, the season he had prior, heading into what was supposed to be a big Braves year. And as it turns out, they're in the friggin' World Series. I wish Acuna was a part of it, but and now those cards, if they're not, they're minimum doubled, if not much higher. Much higher.
Yeah, I believe we were looking at the price points that we were looking at were like $25 to $50 depending on the cards, and a lot of those cards are now going for over $100, if not more. I think one that we looked at was close to $300. So yeah, definitely. And we will be doing a year in review and doing a much better job of tracking our suggestions going into 2022. We'll probably start using either Market Movers or Card Ladder to record all this and post screenshots and all that stuff. But we've done.
It's all public record, so
yeah,
we've had a lot of hits. And we definitely have misses, but all you got to do is win more than you lose.
That's true. So yeah, we'll be doing when we get into December, we'll be doing year in review type stuff and talking about some of the winners and the losers. But it seemed timely that the first recommendation that we made was Austin Riley, and the World Series starts, and he's one of the key components.
Two-run double,
and he has a 2-run double tonight, so his stuff should continue to go up. All right. With that being said, now we can start Bunk's buying guide. Bunk's off-season buy. I have to really figure out what the title of this is.
Well, maybe we'll actually have a formal segment one of these days.
Bunk's guide to off-season bait. I don't know what the fuck. Whatever. Talk baseball.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So the guy we're looking at today is Spencer Torkelson, first overall pick of the Tigers. I don't know what it is about, how your phone listens to you when you're talking and typing, but in my little Google page, for some reason, the last 2 weeks, have been just getting overwhelmed with Detroit Tiger press articles. I don't know why, but I must be typing in Spencer Torkelson a lot or talking about him. So, all the articles are they're just pumping Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green. Riley Green, we've already talked about. But Spencer Torkelson's going to make his major league debut next year. That's fact. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. So I was looking at a couple cards of his, and then I stumbled across his 2020 Bowman Chrome Sapphire. So it's his first Bowman Sapphire card. I was looking at the PSA 9. I look at the PSA 9, and now listen, there's only 88 of them. So over the last 2 weeks, there's only been 3 sales, and the average was $119. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So, what are the Raws selling for? And I go and look at the Raws, and the last 14 days on those things were like over $150, more than the 9. So I wanted to have a little discussion on what does that mean, sir?
Alrighty. Well, first and foremost, you're basically recommending if you can get your hands on a Spencer Torkelson Bowman Draft Sapphire, you're recommending to do that. Is that first and foremost?
Well, based on what I just said, I would buy the 9 since it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, right now I have the charts up. The last Raw closed for 127 and 147. The last PSA 9 closed for 119. However, the highs on the 9 over the last year, the highs on the 9, 230. The highs on Raw, 205. So I mean, the charts are basically interwoven, and right now they're varying just depending on the day, and some days the 9s are selling more than the Raw, some days the Raw is selling more than the 9s. So first and foremost, if you can get your hands on a good clean Raw or a PSA 9, and in that basically $120 range, that's first and foremost what we're recommending. Secondly, that leads us into this week's basically hot take on the market and the fact that clean cards online are selling for anticipated PSA 10s. And that, I believe, is what you see. If you see a good, clean-looking card, people are paying 10 prices. Not that they're paying the value of the 10, but they're paying more than the raw comps. They're paying more than the PSA 9s. And, I think that's going to lead a lot of people to be upside down and get burned. We've had it happen with us where something looks very, very clean online, and then we get it in hand, and there's a ding, or there is a print line, or there's a scratch. And for us, the way that we are making money in this hobby is not being upside down. And if you're paying more, you're paying above comps and you're paying above 9s, you're fucked. If it comes back at 9, you are so far upside down that you're going to wind up trying to get out of a hole or hope that this card goes up another 30% in order for you to get even. Unless you're buying really, really high-end stuff, but most people aren't doing that.
Well, right. So the only data on a PSA 10, and now you're talking general. You weren't talking Sapphire in that particular.
Yeah, I'm talking general.
So, for example, a couple examples. There is a 10 Sapphire Torkelson sale at $700. So if a Raw is looking really, really good online or in person, people are willing to pay a little bit more because now they have this hope that they drop $150 into it and they might get a $700 card out of it. Another perfect example is how about that silver prism we saw today of Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, all week people have been panic selling Mahomes, and the raw prism silvers have been selling for $750. We picked one up. This is our second one that we bought because the the grading ratios are there. You should be spending anything under $1,100 on it raw. Basically means that if it comes back a 9, you still get paid. And we hope for the 10, but if we get the 9, we'll still make a couple $100. This card went for $14.25. It was very, very clean, and people paid that premium of hoping for the 10. Meanwhile, we got one early, like 2 days ago, for $790. That one that closed Sunday night, that was clean. We feel that we have a chance for a 10, but we got it for $790 because Mahomes had a shit game and people started to shy away from his stuff. So we got the discount, but I won't pay. The reason why I won't pay $1,400 for that card is because if it comes back a 9, you are upside down. And that, even if you look at in the most recent comps, if you buy it on eBay and sell it on eBay, you will lose money if you paid $14.25 for a raw and sold it for $18.50 if you got a 9. And I know that's a $425 gap, but if you factor in taxes, you factor in shipping, you factor on both sides and the grading shipping, the grading fees, and eBay fees, you will wind up upside down by $128.
Now, the main positive takeaway from this is if you're trying to sell cards, take good pictures. Good pictures will always get you more money. 100%. You got a crappy lighting and you don't show me the front and back of a card, you are going to lose bidders and buyers because they don't like your pictures. And most people, now we ask people for more pictures all the time. A lot of people, they don't want to be bothered with that. You're not going to show me pictures the first time around. I'm not asking you for them. Take good. You want to sell. The best selling advice I can give you is take good pictures.
Yeah, and also the other things that we're realizing is buying stuff at shows, buying at shows, not selling at shows, buying at shows is where you can avoid taxes, shipping, and usually get stuff for below comps, or finding Facebook groups, Twitter, threads, and Discord groups that are reputable, and don't be afraid to ask if somebody is selling something and posting a message saying, hey, who can vouch for, XYZ person? And you will get a bunch of people that either say, yes, I can vouch for him, I did business with him, or you'll get crickets, and in which case you don't buy from this person. It's a lot more dangerous to buy, and dangerous isn't the right word, but it's a lot more risky to buy on some of these groups, but that's why you use PayPal goods and services. So for whatever reason you get burned, that you have some sort of insurance, but it's a way to avoid some of the fees. But I mean, we're going to be coming out with more data on this stuff. I created a little calculator for you to be able to calculate buying and selling fees and grading fees, and if you buy for X and sell for Y, what your profits are. It's eye-opening as far as how much money you can lose, even if it looks like you bought a card for $100 and sold it for $200. If you got it graded, or even if you bought it and sold it on eBay, how much of that you're going to lose, and how much profit you think you've made, but you've made a fraction of that. So it's definitely something to keep your eyes open for, and know your numbers before you're doing some of this buying and selling.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not rocket science what we're doing with the grading cards, but we put the work in. We're taking the time to review these cards, review the data. If you're just going to haphazardly buy and send off, you're going to come up short.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some of the other stuff that we're going to be talking about in future episodes is we've always used the logic of SGC for lower end stuff, and I'm finding some of that there's a threshold, and there seems to be, like, if the card is costing you X dollars raw, like anything under like $250 raw, even the value and the return on that from SGC 10s aren't coming, and God forbid you get anything less than a 10, once again you could wind up very upside down. So we're gonna have more on this as we go. There's just some stuff we've been figuring out over the last few weeks, and it's adjusted how we're doing things and how we're looking at things. So we'll be sharing that stuff with you guys as we go. And Slab War stuff, we'll have more of that in the future. I'm probably going to start posting some of that on social media. There's just so much data out there, between gemrate.com, Card Ladder, Market Movers, eBay, 130. There's no reason why you shouldn't know your numbers if you're looking to actually turn this into something that you can make money from.
Healthy analytics.
Yeah, and people call it nerd, whatever, but you know what? The more calculated that you are, the better that you'll be. And if you're shooting from the hip, unless you have money to burn and you're really playing in the high end space, trying to make money on $100 and $200 cards is a grind, and it will take you a long time. All right, I think we got one more thing to talk about. We have a peanut gallery question. Shout out to Paul for sending this in. This is actually an awesome question. It's a lengthy one, so let me read it. What do you guys think about holding ultra modern unopened product long term? And when he says unopened, I think he's talking about sealed wax. In a sense, it functions like an ETF on the stock market, where it holds value based on cards you might pull, but there's significant risk in holding this long term if the hobby shrinks like it did post junk wax era, or if the card companies overproduce to try and squeeze out the last value before Fanatics enters the market. Do you guys hold any unopened ultra modern product? Why or why not? I will let you tackle this first.
I try to hold it, but then it whispers to me and it says, "Open me." And then I open it. So I have every intention of keeping ultra modern wax sealed and keeping it as an asset, to his point, because I think there's a lot of value in that. I think the risk of the sports card industry shrinking compared to his comparison, the last junk wax era, I think with the things that have come about in the last 6 months in the hobby, I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think a box is going to hold its value. I particularly like these online exclusives, like your Sapphire boxes and some of the other things Topps puts out. I know tons of people that are they buy 5 boxes, they open 4, and one goes on the shelf. And they now, for the last 2-3 years, they have a collection of boxes and you just see the values creeping up, because what happens is, it's just like anything else. It becomes the scarcity because, everyone's ripping 2019 Topps Chrome Sapphire. Well, eventually there's only a few boxes left. And if you want one, because you're chasing a Tatis rookie card, it's going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay a fortune because there's not 12 of them or 50 of them up online anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and the time to buy boxes is the year that, if you can, is the year that they come out. That's going to be the cheapest usually. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on release day, because there's definitely been some product that came out and, there's the initial frenzy for it. And then as the new product comes out, sometimes the price drops on the other stuff temporarily so that they can try to move that inventory. And then you have an opportunity to scoop some stuff. For example, 2021 Donruss football came out at $5.99. I saw it advertised at $3.99 right now on Blowout or Steel City or one of those. So you can pick some of that stuff up. Anything with this year's quarterback class, yeah, I mean, I'd be looking at some of that stuff to grab and throw on the shelf, because it doesn't matter what's in it. It doesn't matter if you got it on eBay or if you got it, from your local card shop or wherever else. If you're not opening it, it's the mystery of what's inside it that people are paying for. They don't care where you got it from. The value of it, the value is in the possibility. So I think that you can definitely accumulate boxes and they'll hold up and have value for years to come. There's too much big money in this space right now that, at least for the next 10 years, that they're not just going to roll over and take it, as far as like letting this thing die. So I think you're pretty safe buying some products over the last few years, depending on what your budget is. I mean, 2018 baseball, basketball, huge things in there, huge possibilities, and those boxes are already through the roof. 2019, you had baseball and basketball, and even some football now with Kyler emerging. Those products are starting to pop. In 2020, forget about it with football. So I definitely think there's value in sealed wax. When I talk to the guys that are sitting on 2003, basketball anything with LeBron in it, guys have been sitting on those boxes for years and sold them for 1,000 times what they bought them for.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got to be. I mean, you take a look at the product. What's the popularity of the product at hand? Like, 2001 Donruss, very base heavy. 2021 Donruss, to your point, very base heavy. So, and the price dropped $200 after release. Number of factors involved there, but that's not a product at the second it releases I'm buying and putting on a shelf because it's base heavy. Now, to be fair, 2018 Topps Update boxes probably command some pretty good money right now because of all the rookies you can get in there. But it's more your chromes, your sapphires, your not many cards in a box type products, your hobby exclusive online. Your F1 sapphire boxes, some of your Topps Chrome sapphire soccer boxes, stuff like that, where you know that there's not a crazy amount of production on it, and that could be argued, but it's certainly less than your 2021 Donruss boxes.
Yeah.
So they're already at a little bit of a premium. I know the first thing people do with some of these hobby exclusives is try to use the pack odds and figure out how many of each base card are there. Just to give yourself an idea of how much they printed, how quick does it sell out. Some of these Topps products sell out in an hour, and some take half a day. Some of it's popularity, and some of it is because they actually didn't print too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of factors involved there, but the overall answer to that question is I absolutely think it's worth storing.
Yeah, I mean the toughest part about it is not opening it.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so
And
bad. I had a 2021 Finest flash box that I couldn't help it anymore. I just ran downstairs in the middle of the night and opened it up.
yeah,
Terrible.
I mean, I think it's getting a little easier simply because you see it time and time again. People aren't making their money back on these boxes. The box prices are already inflated. So, but people are always going to have that itch and the Jones to open the box. So,
Again, it goes down to what is my main goal of buying something. If your main goal of buying something is to turn it into more money than you paid for it, then yeah, to your point, if the prices are so damn high, you're likely not pulling enough cards to make your money back. So if you're not in it to collect and sell a little bit of it off to offset your costs a little bit, then yeah, you're better off just keeping the box.
yeah, I would agree. And just drop it on the shelf, put it in a closet, do whatever you want with it. And, at some point, if it's a strong class, strong rookie class, it'll definitely hold some value later on down the road. All right. I believe that's it for this week. You got anything else you would like to cover?
No, and I believe yes, we're good. No get off my lawn moments this week.
A closing as strong as your opening. Thank you for contributing that.
It's all about the middle, baby.
All right. I had a comment pop in my head, but that is not suitable for...
Inappropriate?
Yeah, that's inappropriate podcast commentary. So on that note, we will wrap up episode 31. Once again, secret card submissions, send email to info@sportscardadvantage.com. Questions you want answered on the podcast, send to info@sportscardadvantage.com. Social media, follow SportsCard ADVTG. Shout us out, share us, help us out if you can. Drop some reviews on Apple Podcasts. Some son of a bitch gave us a 1-star review and didn't even leave a comment. So if you can help us out, drop some reviews on Apple Podcasts. Get us closer to that 5 stars that we started with. That would be appreciated. All right, we're out. Episode 31 in the books.